minutes to 1 minute. John is already here with us. John will be the presenter for Nedap webinar. So John, if you want to start.
All right. Well, thanks guys for coming. I appreciate taking the time out. Again, apologies for the hiccup, but we're just going to go through some of our product line and and then if you have any questions, we'll cover that in a second or minutes. Okay, so Nedap has been a publicly traded company, been around for 90 years, actually just celebrated its 90th birthday here at the end of September. So, but we deal mainly with the access control side as far as vehicle long-range identification. So to allow entry in and out of gates. As far as so then what I want to point out is all our readers are open-ended, so they work well with any back-end systems that can handle the standard communication protocols like WEGAN, TCP, and such. Just simple, easy to use, easy to install. Basically the same as any card readers. You have your three data wires, your data 1, data 0, and your ground, and then your power supply. It's recommended for best practices to have a 24-volt linear 2 to 3 amp power supply, but you'll be good to go with that. We're going to jump into our products. We've got the Transit, which is our active line, and it's kind of the more robust for industrial applications. It's a 2.45 gigahertz frequency, so and battery powered tags to where it helps identify that tag in a more robust way. Great for mining applications, for the high security areas as well. So then the next is our UPass line, which is a reflective technology, and it's a 900 megahertz frequency. So it's more of a mirror and a flashlight analogy. So the reader's lobe would be the flashlight, and then the tag would reflect that energy back to the reader to create the read. Then we have the ANPR, which is the license plate recognition, and we'll cover this here as we go on down a little bit more in detail. And then the MACE, which is our multi-tech reader, and then our Sensit product, which is smart card. So the first line is Transit, like I was saying. It's that active technology, battery-powered tags, has a lithium-ion battery with life expectancy of up to 10 years, depending on the use. And then, so there's the Transit line. We've got the Transit Ultimate, and then the Transit ATEX. The ATEX is more for mining and heavy dust and particle. If that's in the area, that's for the Transit ATEX. It's basically the Transit Ultimate in a ATEX certified case. So we've got a couple of the tags there. We've got the heavy-duty ISO tag that's designed to be actually installed on the outside of the vehicle. It can be placed behind a bumper or a grill, as long as there's no metal in between, because metal will block RFID reads. But it's actually designed to kind of form fit right in between the ribs of a trailer, for a tractor trailer. We've got our smart card boosters, or our Prox boosters. There's two different boosters. The Prox booster, you'll insert a Prox chip in, Prox carded chip in it. It will push the button, it'll read a signal and send that signal, boost that signal up to 30 feet to the reader, and then create access. And it's it can be used as a dual authentication as well. Now the smart card booster, due to the fact that we don't have that sector information, it will read the card serial number and still output a unique identifier as well. So that's one thing to do to note with the smart card booster. But the Prox chip and the Prox booster, either single ID or dual ID will identify and output that card number on the card. Then we have the compact clamshell tag, and that's has a little shorter read range, up to 22 feet on that, but that's used to identify with that tag. We've got the window buttons, which is a hand-free, and then we have the window button with switch, where with the window button with switch, you push it, the button, and it sends a signal for 5 seconds, and then after that 5 seconds, you'd have to push that button again to send the signal. Those are usually set up for if you have like a short lane, or you have vehicles driving by the reader, and you don't necessarily want to have them activate the reader except at a certain time or a certain location. There's examples of ways the product is installed. We recommend placing it on the windshield right there in the center, if at all possible. It can be placed at other locations on the windshield. Just make sure to get you place and install the reader on the same side, or place the tags on the same location, and then have that reader pointing that same way to where you have a most consistent reads.
Yeah, this is a good slide because it's starting to show the different sectors that transit tag is used in. So oftentimes we're installed in a lot of petrochemical or industrial applications for this type of line. The IRS Center in Kansas City, Missouri, they use window buttons for all their employees getting on and off campus in a secure but convenient fashion. And that's really a strength of Nedap's and of these taglines, is that a lot of our tags are designed for specific applications and specific needs. So I'll go back just real briefly. The heavy duty tag on the far lower left-hand side can attach right to metal. So we have one power utility company, or a couple in the US, that are now tracking their backhoes and heavy equipment along with the driver and the truck that they're driving. So they will have a booster tag in the cab of the truck, and then whatever their asset that they're pulling on the trailer, they would just put a heavy duty tag on. All of our tags are line of sight and directional. So when you do set up that type of portal or gateway, you'll want to make sure that your tags are all uniformly on one side of that asset or that vehicle so that the reader can see the tag clearly. And just to add to what John was talking about on the booster side, we also have the booster being used to track both the truck and the person that's driving. So you'll get 2 Wiegand signals sent from the reader to your access panel when a booster is seen, when a dual ID booster is seen. The booster itself will have an ID number, and then the driver will have a card that identifies them. And of course, on your back-end system, you can set up a 2-man rule or something if you want to pair or tie these 2 credentials together. Could be used for the metrics and analysis of who's driving which truck and when, but also for added security.
Yeah, so this slide shows some of our successful cases. Like I said, we've had successful cases in mining, airports. All of the Alaska Department of Transportation uses our transit line as well. Offices, residential, high-end parking as well. So next, we're going to go touch base with the UHF line. Now that, like again I said, it's a more cost-effective 900 megahertz reflective technology. So that mirror and flashlight analogy. So the reader is dependent on that tag reflecting that energy back. So it's not ideal in the industrial line, just for the fact that there can be environmental factors such as metal blocking reeds. So, all right, so we have 3 different options on this. This line, we have the UPass Target, which has a 33-foot read range. We have the UPass Reach, which is a read range of up to 16 feet. And then the UPass Access is more for people access and part access, and that has a read range from for up to 4 to 6 feet. So then we'll look at the tags. Something to consider as we look at the readers too. The UPass Reach is horizontally polarized, so the tags would have to be presented horizontally. So we've got a couple of options of different tags. We've got the UHF windshield tag, and that one is installed, usually recommended installed right there around the the rear view mirror, as that's where there's a break in metallized content, except in some high-end vehicles have metallized content there, and that will make it difficult to read. So best practice is to have either the next option, the UHF Heavy-Duty Tag, or the 4th option over there, the UHF Exterior Tag. And those are mounted on the outside exterior of the vehicle. The Heavy-Duty Tag, the one that's plastic, looks kind of like a with the 2 grommets on it, those can be mounted to metal and achieve a read. The UHF Exterior Tag will need to be mounted on a non-metal surface, as metal will block RFID reads or affect RFID reads. So, and then the combi card, that's the middle one, and that one you can do one of 2 things. We do have just a UHF option where you can read and present that tag and get the read, or the combi card. So if you have multiple technologies on the site, you can use the UHF side to get into the site, and then throughout the site you could use, say, your I-class side of the card with other readers. So moving on down, here's an example of kind of the install. This is with the UPass Reach. So you'd pull up, the reader is sending the signal, reflected back, and it sends a signal to open the gates. Then tag, this is a slide with just kind of a recommended installation. Make sure the surface is clean and free of dust and also dry. And that's recommended placement for the exterior tag as well. And then down there is just kind of an example of where tags can be placed. In successful cases, airports, offices, residential parking, and residentials and parking like HOAs or homeowners association and parking revenue machines. We have the UPass line in those as well.
And I would just add at this time that really what separates these 2 product lines, the transit line, that's our commercial line that you saw earlier, and the UPass 900 megahertz line. Nedap started in the Americas, at least in the security industry, with our transit line. And we've become the leader in the security industry for long-range vehicle access and automatic vehicle identification in that industry. The UPass line that John's highlighting currently was added about 8 years ago, and this was specifically targeting the parking and convenience and access markets. So it was value added cost at just the right performance for these types of applications. So we separate these 2 lines between commercial security for the transit line, and then the UPass line, oftentimes we explain in a good value for the customer and more in applications that are more for convenience and lower security.
All right, so the next line that we have is the AMPR, and there's several different options. I'm going to touch a little to the AMPR Lumo. which is a new product that's been released back in May here in the U.S. market. It is a all-in-one optical reader, optical license plate reader. So it has the software built into it. And so there's no need for additional software or the WIM as well. It'll output a Wiegand signal and communicate to your backend system to trigger your gate without any additional software. Recognition speeds of up to 100 miles an hour and read range between 6.5 feet all the way back to 33 feet. And Curtis, do you want to say anything on the other ANPR cameras?
Yeah, let me go back to that real quick. So the ANPR technology for Nedap has been used worldwide for several years now, and it's used quite successfully in Europe, in the Middle East, in Asia, Australia, and South America as well. We've recently added the ANPR Lumo to the line, and it's adjusted some of the features that were offered on the original ANPR technology. So the ANPR Lumo was designed to tackle the multiple states and different variants and types of plates in the United States. But as a result of working on to approach that obstacle, they were able to really improve the speed of the read camera and the accuracy. So we're really excited about the ANPR Lumo for those increases in performance that they've been able to do. So this can be used for free flow applications. Vehicles up to 100 miles an hour can be captured with this. And as John stated, all of the software for managing this as a standalone can be used on the camera here with a simple web interface for your white and black lists. In addition to that, there's a neat feature where you can do a Wiegand translation from the plate and output whatever Wiegand message you want and assign whatever ID number you want to that plate so that that message can go to your access control panel for authentication. So again, this can be wired into a access control panel via Wiegand or Ethernet or serial, but also work as a standalone if you so choose.
So there's some of the verticals in it as well. With the Lumo, it's a convenience. You can also add lists as far as, visitor park. It's great for visitor parking if you know the license plate of the people coming in, and you can gain access that way. You type in the list, send it to the reader. You can actually do that via an IP address.
In addition, the Lumo also demonstrates a full API, full REST interface. So it has the capability to interface to your existing systems via a server API communication, a push or a pull. So if you do have an application where you need to push specific access lists to the camera or pull from that, it has a full REST interface with server API availability. I'll go ahead and lead the introduction here with the MACE product. So this is our multi-class, multi-technology reader that we're offering. I'll go ahead and scroll down here. We're about to have a new name for this device. So we're excited about the kind of the repackaging of that device. The main focus on the reader itself is its ability to read both physical cards and virtual cards that would reside on a user's phone. You can communicate fully through Bluetooth or NFC. And the reader also can read any PROX or I-class technology depending on the model that's purchased or ordered. It also has an integrated QR code scanner, which is very handy for visitor management or transportation. Again, the use of the mobile credential is quickly becoming the preferred method in some areas of the market. You'll always have a need for a physical credential in some specific sections of the market, but in others it's quite convenient when you're introducing to the general public or some sort of interface, whether it be transportation or entry to a facility where the mobile device itself is going to be used as the credential. So Nedap has a complete developer's kit for utilizing some of those virtual credentials, and we can share that if you're interested after the presentation. And if you're interested in finding out more information about this product, please let us know. We're glad to share specifics on this. The final product here that we have is very interesting technology-wise, and Nedap is one of just a handful of manufacturers in the world that's leading the way with this technology. The Sensit product line, in essence, and I'll pull down here to the full hardware demonstration, is a wireless parking occupancy system. So the concept is that you would place these battery-powered wireless parking sensors in each parking bay on a parking lot, and those sensors would communicate back through a local network to the Sensit gateway, which is shown in the upper left-hand side, and that gateway communicates back to a cloud server, either via Ethernet or cellular. So this is interesting in a number of different ways, whether you're trying to communicate number of open spots in an open lot or a parking garage, or if you're trying to collect metrics and analytics for the use of certain resources. So we all know how expensive it is for parking garages and different parking transportation applications. So oftentimes, if a customer is going to spend and invest that much money in building a parking garage or an open lot, they want to make sure that the resource is being used to its fullest capability. And also for customer experience, overall customer experience of a facility, finding parking is of utmost priority, and just creating an ease of accessing, whether it's a hospital or a commercial building or a mall, where you're trying to get the closest parking spot and decrease the congestion of traffic overall. Here's a quick overview of on-site. At the bottom, you would have different form factors of sensors to choose from. The yellow wireless sensor in the lower right-hand corner is designed to glue right to the surface of the road. So oftentimes these are used in parking garages or on top of the pavement itself. Very easy to install and quick to get online. The next sensor that's right in the middle that kind of looks like a soda can itself, those are in-ground sensors, so you would core drill into the road surface and place these down flush with the pavement. These can take a higher load of weight, so this is good for truck stops and logistic type applications, and also good for in the north and in Canada for areas that receive snow and that there is snow plows. And then the far lower left is just a combination of that. It's an in-ground sensor, but it has a lid on the top of it, kind of a cone. All of this information feeds up to relay nodes that are often placed on light poles in the immediate area. And then the relay nodes pass occupancy and status events to the data collector, which feeds it back to the cloud system and to signage. That concludes the overview of the hardware of the sensor, and we would be glad to take any questions at this time.
Thank you. Thanks so much for the presentation. Thank you, John. There is a panel on your right side of your screen where you can send us your questions. We'll be happy to answer them. Also, this session is being recorded, so we'll be sending you the video after the webinar ends to your email. So if by any chance your internet wasn't good or you didn't catch the detail, we'll be sending your presentation to your email. Also, we will be sending John information in case that you need to contact him, as well as upcoming information so you can contact us.
Very good. Well, as those questions come in, we definitely want to thank you for your time, and we certainly appreciate it. And again, John and Martin are available for questions. And we hope that you have a newfound interest for the Nedap product line, and we look forward to serving you up any information or supporting you in any projects that you might have with Nedap.
There is one question from Mario Mazariegos. He's asking us, did you have a complete system for parking? I mean, the automatic lift gates for parking, for example, or just the readers?
That's a good question. We focus on just the readers and the credentials. We would be glad to make suggestions on gates and stuff like that, but that's not something that we sell as a package or anything like that. So just the readers and the credentials. The readers are designed to fit any access control panel virtually that's on the market, as long as it receives a WEGAN or serial or Ethernet communication. And the majority of our readers are OSDP ready and compliant as well. So if you have a high security application that requires OSDP communication from the reader to your access panel, we can provide that as well.
Thank you. Well, with this, we're going to have to end the session. We'll be sending this presentation to your email as well. You can always go into appcom.net and check out all the webinars there at the website. Well, thank you so much for your time, and we'll see you in our next webinar. Thank you so much.
Thank you.